Hey, my friends. So as you have heard, Windows 10, Microsoft Windows 10 has an end of life. So rest in peace, Windows 10, as of October 14th of this year, 2025. So on October 14th, 2025, Windows 10 will no longer be receiving support, security updates, et cetera, et cetera. So your IT department has probably started to recommend that you either are able to upgrade your existing workstations to the newest Windows 11, or you may have to purchase new workstations. I have several offices that have reached out to me. I have an office up in Gig Harbor, Washington. They had to purchase 4 new workstations for their practice. I know that many of you are having to install some new workstations before October 14th. So you're already starting to do that. So I thought that I would send you out a podcast to share with you what to expect when you install a new workstation. Okay. Now, as soon as you install this new workstation, it doesn't magically appear with all of your existing settings, okay, or customization. There are a lot of things inside of your Dentrix software that are workstation specific, okay? So you will have to go through and customize this new workstation. So if you're a front office admin team member and you've been working at your office for 5+ years and you have your workstation all set up the way you love it. You got your views set up and your toolbars are the way that you want them. Well, guess what? You're going to have to do a lot of updating and customization when you get that brand new workstation with Windows 11. So Windows 11 really doesn't have anything to do with your Dentrix setup, but since it's a brand new workstation, it doesn't know how you had everything set up because you have to install Dentrix fresh onto that workstation. So I'm going to go through with you today what those settings are. Now, one thing that you can try, I'm just going to throw this out there because I have never actually used it, but it is an option in your software. If you go to your office manager, you go to maintenance, click on practice setup, and then you go scroll all the way to the bottom. There is a workstation setup tool. It's like a workstation setup wizard. I think it is supposed to work like if you wave a magic wand, it's supposed to be able to magically appear the settings. But I think what it does is it copies settings from another workstation. I think I've never used it. So, but if any of you have used it, or if you want to try it out, let me know how it works, because I only have my laptop. I don't work in a dental practice, and so I don't have the ability to test it out. And I don't have any offices that I work in that are getting new workstations. So let me know. Give me some comments on this podcast episode. Let me know if that workstation wizard does work. But what I'm going to go over with you today is what are these workstation specific custom settings that you will have to set up on your brand new Windows 11 workstation. So let's start with the appointment book. On the appointment book, one of the first things that you will have to do is you will have to set up your view, okay? Because now you have Dentrix out of the box view, and it might not show all of your operatories. It might not have the columns set the way you want them. It might not have the color of the background. The open and closed hours might not be the right color that you like. There's a lot of things that are going to be different with your view. So one of the first things I would recommend is you go up to settings on the appointment book, go to appointment book settings, and then you can change your open and closed hours. That is a workstation specific setting. If you, I was working with a dental team member who was colorblind, and she had to have very specific color on her open and closed hours so she could see when the office was open and when the office was closed. So that was very specific to her workstation. So you could go in there and change the color. You can also then on the appointment book, go up to view. Then there's a little tab at the top of the toolbar on the appointment book. Go to view, and you probably won't have any views in there that are set up. So you have to click new, and then you would have to set up your view. Now, what you're probably going to need to set up for the most part is going to be more on the right-hand side, all of the details that you see inside of the appointment, like all the different line items that are in the appointment, like the patient name, the appointment reason, things like that. Now, my favorite view is I like to see the patient name. I like to see 2 lines of appointment reason, and then I like to see the patient age. So those are my 4 favorite lines. Everything else I just set to none because it gets rid of all the stuff that you really don't need to see. Now, if you want to see insurance plan or you want to see the amount of the appointment, you certainly can set up your custom view. This is also where you can set up the providers. And so the providers is what it uses to calculate the production for the appointment book. And then you'll have the option to set up what operatories do you want to see in your view. And if you're on the latest version of Dentrix, you'll also be able to organize your operatories in whatever order you want. You can also name your operatories. You can give it the operatory a title. So that's also something you can do. So you'll have to set up your view. You'll have to change your open and closed hour colors if you want something more customized. You can also update your toolbar if your toolbar was in a certain order. Now, I don't recommend that every workstation toolbars are in different orders. I do like to see consistency, but I know a lot of you do like to have that toolbar customized. I know when I was in practice, I liked my customized toolbar. Another thing that you'll have to do is turn on the perfect day scheduling on your workstation. If you are using perfect day scheduling, the default is it does come out of the box as turned off. So you will have to turn on your perfect day scheduling. Okay. Another thing that you will have to set up is your preferences. Let's see. And if you're wondering what I'm looking at, if you go to Dentrix Help, there is a document. It's not really a document. It's more like an interactive help menu, setting up workstations. So that's just what I'm looking at, is just giving you all the details from what's in the Dentrix Help. In the practice defaults, you can default the provider and operatory, and then you can set up your billing statements, because billing statements is also a workstation specific setup. So if you are the financial coordinator and you've always sent billing statements out of Dentrix from your workstations, you will have to reset up your billing statement setup. And then there's some things on the ledger that you will need to customize. So if you go to the ledger, so just follow along with me here. I'm going to go to the ledger, and if you go up to file, you can go down to ledger colors. So ledger colors is also a workstation specific setting. So depending on what color you want your transaction line items to be, what color do you want your credit adjustments, what color do you want your debit adjustments, what color do you want your insurance claims. So you get to pick all those colors. It comes defaulted with some blues and reds and blacks, but you can change that if you want. I would just recommend that you keep them as dark as possible. Otherwise, if you make it like a light orange color, you're probably not going to be able to see it very well. Another thing that I'll want you to set up is your allocation options setup. So also under file, go down to allocation options setup. So there's things in there like setting up your adjustment types for your provider allocations. So if you are doing one of those 4 accounting tasks that I recommend every day, the day sheet, insurance claims, allocations, and billing statements. So if you're doing allocations every day, or you're doing allocations on a weekly basis, or whatever you're doing, you will have to make sure that you have set up what adjustment types you are using for allocations. Now, I recommend that you're using either a transfer balance credit, transfer balance charge, or something to that effect. Another thing with allocations setup is you can also let the system know if the family ledger has a credit balance. Do you want to view the credit balance, or do you want to view it as a 0? So you get to set up those customizations. The other thing you can set up is some insurance payment setup and the fast checkout. That's another one that you'll have to set up. That's a workstation setting, is your fast checkout. Now, I don't really have very many offices that are using the fast checkout, but that's where you can tell the computer, if you click that fast checkout button, it can prompt you to post a payment, it can batch a claim, and it can print a walkout statement. I think all those three things together. It's called the fast checkout. So it takes you through a series of kind of this workflow. So if you're using that, you will have to reset that back up. Then there's some direct processing options. I'm going to actually pull that up so I can see everything that's in that direct processing options. Let's see. Let me open this up. Yeah. So if you go to File, Direct Processing Options, then you get the option for like if auto attachments. I talked about that if you're using Dentrix eClaims, you can set up auto attachments. So it will recognize if you have posted, set complete a crown and you're batching a claim for a crown and you have this auto attach feature set up, it will auto attach the x-ray or the clinical note, things like that. Those are things that you'll have to customize now that you have a new workstation. There's also like if you click on the billing statement icon on the ledger, do you want it to batch it or do you want it to direct print? So those kinds of things. Same with walkouts. Those are also workstation specific things. Okay, let's see. Also in the preferences, let me go. I don't think I have. So let me go down to preferences. In the preferences, okay. In the preferences, there's also some workstation specific details in here. So if you go to the office manager, go up to maintenance, practice setup, and then go all the way down to preferences, then there's a lot of checkboxes in here. And most of these are workstation specific. So there's some startup options. You can click on the startup options and you can click on each of those radio buttons. There's some things in there that are workstation specific. If you were ever using the launch office journal option, so if you've ever worked with me before and you like using the office journal as your kind of your to-do list, so you use reminders a lot, you can have it auto launch your office journal. You'd have to turn that back on. You'd also have to set up those default signatures for new insurance claims. So make sure that there's checkboxes in the release of information and assignment of benefits. And then over kind of on the right side, there's additional options. These are all workstation specific. Like, do you want it to beep when you're perio charting? Do you want it to hide the social security number? Or do you want to just mask the social security number? You could set up your workstation for the simple select instead of the detailed patient select window. You can require referred by when you're scheduling a new patient. Now, I've kind of thought that was a global setting, but you might have to let me know about that one. Also require a date of birth for scheduling new patients. Those two, I'm not really sure, they may be global settings, but just in case, you can change them on your new workstation. Then if you go to the print options tab, we're still in the preferences window, but if you click into the print options tab, then there's some other checkboxes here that you can set up. Like, for example, verify billing statements to send. I always want to make sure that's checked. So if I am sending out a billing statement run, that I'm able to actually look at the statements before I send them out. And then if you want your statements to go to the document center, make sure that's checked. And if you are using the aging report for anything, there's a print provider balances on aging report. There's a checkbox there. If you are using the aging report for anything, I don't use the aging report except for practice valuations. So I don't use it for any operations or anything like that. Let's see. I think that's it on there. And then in the this isn't included in this help file, but I do believe that you will have to also do some customization on the patient chart. So if you go to your patient chart, then go up to settings. Well, let me double check. I'm going to pull it up on my screen. Go to setup. So if you go to setup, then go to procedure buttons, select the procedure buttons that you will use on this workstation. And then you can also go to ledger colors. Let's see if you go to setup, chart display setup. So it's called chart display setup. And that's where you'll find that you can then pick the color, the chart color you want. Now, whenever I'm working with a practice, I always want all my workstations in the clinical area to look the same. So hopefully you have a chart color theme that has been named. Like I would usually name it like the name of the practice. And so then every workstation in the whole clinical area, they all look the same. So the procedure buttons, those should be the same as every other workstation in the clinical area. Your chart colors should all be the same. And that is probably also something that you will need to customize. Also in the perio chart, if you have created any customized templates for perio charting, like the navigational script, the way it navigates around the mouth, that you might have to either pull that file from the server, or you may have to recreate those perio settings. The clinical note templates should be fine. Those are all global. All that, it should be fine. So don't worry about clinical notes. Okay, my friends, this was just a kind of a reminder that Windows 10 is going out of service on October 14th of 2025. Right now, you're probably working with your IT company, purchasing some new workstations if you have workstations that are not able to upgrade to Windows 11. So I hope this was helpful for you. If you would, please share this with your colleagues, your friends. If you're in a study club, share this with your friends. Share it on your Facebook groups. I appreciate all the love. Rate it, review it, share it. That's how we get our information out to more people. So I look forward to watching your journey of becoming a high-performing dental team.